Mr. Chrisbell, that it's a question that all of these candidates have heard many times before, and we thought it was important for this audience to hear the answer to this question. The city, as you know, is currently working under the fiscal constraints of two voter-approved caps. In 1979, voters limited the property tax rate dedicated to general services such as fire, police, and parks to 50 cents per $100 in valuation. A city official has been bumping into that cap longer than a decade. In 2004, voters essentially limited the annual growth of tax revenues to a combination of inflation and population growth. You know this is the situation we're in now. Mayor Parker is planning some sort of revenue cap change. Would you support any changes to those caps? What would you do about that?
Yes, I would. I'd like to see them repealed because I don't think they're good public policy, and I think in a lot of respects it's like tying the hands of the city behind its back and saying go out and win the fight. We do have huge financial challenges, and as Bill King pointed out, we've enjoyed great economic prosperity in recent years here in the city of Houston. But the city of Houston has not had a chance to prosper, and it's going to cause extreme challenges in the future. One of the reasons is because of the revenue cap. That's not the end-all and be-all. We have to become more efficient. And I think when I talk about modernization and the ways that we want to incorporate technology and get smarter about the way we do things at City Hall, we will find a great deal of savings and be able to cut a great deal of waste. And that's a big part of the problem as well.
Very good. Stephen Costello, 30 seconds to respond.
No, I will not support raising the revenue cap. And the reason why is that the community doesn't believe we're spending the money wisely. And it's evident by our runaway pensions and runaway healthcare costs. And until we're able to convince the public that we can solve our pension problems and our runaway healthcare costs, not until that time will anyone give us new revenue. And that's my position today. Thank you.
Adrian Garcia, 30 seconds.
I support rev cap. I supported it when I was on council. I don't think you have got any confidence that City Hall has been spending your money wisely, and that's why I supported the rev cap. It created some fiscal discipline, so we make sure we know how we're using your money, and I think we just haven't been creative enough and disciplined enough to find the efficiencies in City Hall. I did it as sheriff. I'm ready to go do it for you again. Thank you.
Ben Hall, 30 seconds.
I oppose any efforts to raise the revenue cap. I'm against it. I believe that the city is taking in more than enough money to operate efficiently. It's simply spending too much money. And as your mayor, I intend to spend your money more wisely and more efficiently.
Bill King, 30 seconds.
Absolutely not. In the last 6 years, the city is now collecting $1 billion more in taxes and fees than it collected 6 years ago. I mean, when is enough enough? And yet we've still gone $3.3 billion further in debt in that same 6-year period. All the cap says is that if you want to exceed the sum of inflation and population growth, you have to come back and ask the voters for their permission to do that. Is that really too much to ask?
Marty McVeigh, 30 seconds.
I do not support raising the revenue cap. I don't support raising taxes only as a last resort. For too long, the city has operated under the assumption we'll just go get more money from the taxpayers and not working within their means. So I do not support raising taxes at all unless it is as a last resort.
And Sylvester Turner.
And I would modify the revenue cap that was put in place in 2004. In 2006, Bill White modified the revenue cap by putting an additional $90 million on top of that for public safety. I would modify it for public safety. Or two, I would modify it to pay down the debt. The debt will spike in 2018. And if we don't do it, then we're running into some serious problems. We have fewer police officers now than we had 10 years ago. We have infrastructure needs. To say that you're not going to modify the cap at all runs counter to all of that, and you simply cannot do it.
Thank you very much. Under the format, Chrisbell, you have 30 seconds if you'd like to respond to the rebuttals.
I would, because that's about the level of agreement and support I expected coming in this evening. Just because you support repealing the cap or modifying the cap or making an exception for public safety does not mean that you're not fiscally conservative. The reason I received the award back in 2001 is because I helped pass the first ever property tax rate rollback. We had ample funds there. It made all the sense in the world. Right now we have a lot of problems, and especially in the area of public safety, to say we're not going to do anything to drive more money into the budget is simply irresponsible. And sometimes when you want to lead, you have to take somewhat unpopular stance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bell. All right, question 2 to Stephen Costello.